The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. Join hosts Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams as they jump into the journey of real estate veteran Chris Heller. Discover the secrets behind developing an unwavering drive for success, the importance of discipline, and effective strategies for prospecting in real estate. Chris shares valuable insights on harnessing a mindset for success, setting meaningful goals, and balancing efficiency and effectiveness. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast, presented by Brivity.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, Chad Hyams and Chris Heller. Chris Heller. We have a legend in the building today, Chad Hyams.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to talk much. I'm just going to be quiet because Chris is here.
Chris, good to see you, man.
I'm usually really quiet and I don't talk much, so that means it's going to be a really quiet conversation.
Hey, Rex, we're still seeing you over here, boss. Eric is gone, but you're still here. Thank you. Chris, do me a favor, as we ask everybody to do when they join us. Can you introduce yourself and kind of give the people listening a feel for who Chris is, what his experience is, and maybe what we're going to chat about today?
Sure. So Chris Heller, I've been in the business a long time. Actually got my license in 1983. So yes, before many of you were alive. And started as an agent that grew into a team. I'm hesitating because the concept of a team didn't exist back then. You didn't call it a team. It's just what happened naturally. As the business grew, you need more people to help you. Became one of the top agents in the country. 2004, switched companies, joined KW. By 2009, I was number one KW agent. 2010, took an executive role for the next 7 years to help grow the company from 77,000 to 150,000 agents. Opened up in 20 different countries and had a lot of fun. After that, ended up at Loan Depot as the CEO of the sister company called Miller Home. I was involved with a lot of prop tech companies, advising on the board of a few. One of the ones I was on the board of, I ended up joining them full time because they were really taking off and growing and could use my help. That was Ojo Labs. We then bought a company called Movoto, which owned a site called Movoto.com, which is the 5th largest portal in the country. We ran that for the last 6 years. Ran a business very similar to Zillow. And then we were acquired in May of last year by a national mortgage company called Lower Mortgage. And I decided after several months, I didn't want to stay on. And I'm still involved as an advisor, but didn't want to stay on a full-time capacity. And then the 3 or 4 years of conversations had been having with Ben and Chris about me joining them actually became a reality. So, and here I am.
All right. So Chris is on our team.
Okay, thanks for being here. That was the half hour. His resume is so big, right?
I tried to do it fast.
Chad, we could probably have him on Win, Make, Give, and we could do a whole talk about kind of transitioning from being in the job to like leadership, because I think there's a lot we could learn from Chris on that. Yep. I want to go back to what you did as an agent, though, Chris, and how you became the number one agent at Keller Williams. Can you talk what if I was to just ask you, well, what's the secret, man? Like, how do you do it? What would you tell me is the secret?
Well, the first thing I'd say is there are no secrets. But I could answer that question so many ways. So
that'll dictate which way this episode goes.
I'll give you a couple answers. Okay. One is I had a burning desire to succeed. Not a burning desire to become an executive or burning desire to become the best agent or the top agent, just to succeed at the highest possible level, like do the best I could do. And that desire then fueled me to do the things that were, the most uncomfortable to do. And then I developed the discipline to make sure I did those things, especially on the days I didn't want to or didn't feel like it, and made sure that I had goals that were so important that they trumped my feelings about what I wanted to do or not wanted to do. And then I took a very I call it business approach to it. Like I treated what I did like a job. I showed up at the same time every day and did the activities and acted like if I didn't do it, I was going to get fired. Because in reality, I would. My clients and my family would fire me if I wasn't doing the things I needed to do. So those are, I give you like 5 or 6. But Bob, all of those and several other things contributed to what worked for me.
Bob, can I jump in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, you ever been in a situation where you're like fanboying, right? It's like, this is Chris Heller, people. I mean, we're not getting the chance on an interview with Chris, having watched him for so many years and interacted here and there with him. Chris, you said the key thing right up front. When we asked you what it was, you first said there was no secrets. And then you gave us you had this burning desire to succeed. I think, no study on this, 99% of people lie to themselves and say they have a burning desire to succeed. What was it in you? Is it replicatable? Can people catch on and say, aha? Or was it just Chris is wired differently and we just need to accept that off the bat?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Chad. I think I don't know that people are born, like more disciplined than other people or with more desire than other people. So I think it's developed. And so if that's true, then you would argue that anyone could develop it. Now, we all have things that happen in our lives and that shape us and who we are, and some of those things shape us in a good direction, some in a bad direction, everything else. So there were things that happened, I think that contributed me having that desire. Like I still have that to this day. I was talking to Chris Stewart yesterday, and I said,
there's a lot of Chris's over there now.
Yeah, there are a lot of Chris's. And I said, we were talking about sleep, how much we sleep. I said, yeah, man, I've been waking up like every night, like at 4 a.m. And I used to, like, if I woke up, I'd go back to sleep like that. I said, but now my mind is going, like I am, like, before I even know I'm awake, I'm working and I'm thinking, because there's so much I want to do and so much to do and so much that I'm working on. And that if I didn't have the desire to achieve or to grow or to learn, that my mind wouldn't be racing like that. So I think the real question then becomes like, okay, if you don't have that, and Chad, I agree with you. I think a lot of people say they do.
Right.
There's a book that I read years ago, like in the 80s. It was called like The Ultimate Secret to Getting Whatever You Want. I can't believe I remember the author's name. Mike Hernaki, like Hernaki or something. And I read this book, and then in the very last paragraph of the book, so no one's going to need to read it now. He gave you the secret, and the secret was the willingness to do whatever it takes. The willingness to do whatever it takes. And when I read that, like I have that. Like I will, if you tell me I have to run through that wall to get what I want, I will run through that wall. Just tell me what I need to do. And so at that stage of my career, I was like on a quest to, like, what do I need to do to be successful? Now, the willingness to do whatever it takes doesn't mean you have to do whatever it takes. You just have to have the willingness to, right? You're not, that doesn't mean you're going to step on people or commit crimes or do what, when people hear whatever it takes, it's like, I'm not going to steal, cheat, or lie, or any of that stuff. But the willingness to do whatever work it takes, right? So if I have to practice and role play every day, which I did for the 26 years that I was actively selling, to get better and to be the best I could be, I will do it. If I have to prospect 3 hours a day to make sure that I am generating enough leads to achieve my goals, I will do it. If I have to guard my time and make it so sacred that I'm not going to let anything get me off schedule, I will do it. I established discipline in those areas, so that helped me utilize my desire to then go do the activities.
I think these, like, things like that, just deep-seated in you, desire to succeed, that you could probably track back, Chris, to a young age. Like, have you always kind of been like that? I think these things come from experiences in our childhood. I'm sitting here wondering, should I get hire a bully to go like rough my kids up a little bit so that some of these things like sink in, They're right about that.
Yeah.
I'm on my way, Bob.
Bob, the short answer is yes. And I know the things that happen in my life. Or I know the stories that I told myself that have happened. Who knows what really freaking happened? Like when you're, when you're 8 and that thing happened and you're like, that's going to drive me forever. Like you probably built that story up over time, but
So Chris, let me ask for the sake of our audience. And Bob and I talk about this on the Win Make Give podcast. I had the idyllic raise. I mean, my parents were divorced, which was still not the common thing, but I didn't have any tragedies. I didn't have it. We were mid-level family, right? Everything was normal. I had a good childhood. There are a lot of people out there who had what I had. So we didn't necessarily have the story and that challenge to overcome that built that fire with. How does someone listening to this today find that within them, light that fire within them? Is it having a why that is so purposeful and it's going to drive them? Is it just having this, just do it for 3 days and you'll find that it starts to develop? How do we get people that don't have it, even though they say they do, to start developing that before we even get into then what are the actions we take?
Yeah. But I'm trying to think how I want to answer this. So I think you hit on it. I think the easiest way, and it's easier said than done, but the easiest way is to have a why that's so important.
Okay.
Right? Like my goals were so important that every day when I was prospecting and that voice would be in my head or sometimes come out of my mouth saying, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to be here. I don't want to make another call. I want to be at the beach, or I want to be out. My brother's out fishing. I want to be out fishing right now, or all those things. The immediate next thought was, I don't listen to my wants or don't wants. And the reason that I had that trigger is because my goals were way more important to me. One of the things that, and I don't know that this is universal, but it was certainly relevant for me, is the idea of wasted opportunity or regret. Like the idea of, hey, it's now at the end of the year and I missed my goal by 50% because 50% of the time I didn't do what I was supposed to be doing. Like the thought of that happening was like the worst thought in the world for me, because it'd be like, wow, you just wasted like half your year, like of your life. And if you're going to get up and get dressed and go to work every day, make the freaking most of it. Otherwise, why do it? I should stay home with my kids or be fishing with my brother or doing those things. So now my goal, people say, well, what was your goal that was so important? I always had a financial goal, but the financial goal was a means to an end. It's finding out what's the thing that's most important. So when people talk about, oh, I don't know what my big why is or what's a big why, it's like, I don't know, it's different for everyone. Again, things happen in your childhood. I remember a vivid conversation and incident and where I was and who was there when I was a senior in high school that caused me to make the decision, I never want to be constrained by not having money to do what I want to do. And it was something as simple as I was hanging out at my friend's house, and I don't remember what we were going to go to a movie or go get something to eat, and two of my friends said, I can't, I don't have any money. And for some reason that was like, wow, like I never want to not be able to do what I want to do. So that freedom was the thing that was a big enough goal that I would do whatever it take to have that freedom. And that was the easiest way, I think, to unleash that desire.
It's a different look at freedom. Some people want the freedom to not have to make those calls, Chris. And so they take the freedom, which gives up the freedom to be able to do whatever they want later.
Yeah.
Okay. I can keep going on this with Chris. Bob,
So we did desire to succeed. Let's go back to Chris's kind of opening salvo there. The next thing I heard you say is it forced me, like, because I have this desire to succeed, I decided, or I committed to doing uncomfortable things. What is that? Let's talk about that. I'm a real estate. I guarantee there's somebody sitting on this call right now that knows there's a thing they need to go do, but it's uncomfortable, and so they're on this call instead.
Well, real estate in the 80s was also so different, right? I mean, people walked into offices back then, Chris was one of the guys who really made lead generating a thing.
Yeah, it was, one of my early mentors used to say, hey, there's 3 ways you can get business. You can wait for it, wait for someone to walk in, wait for someone to walk in an open house, wait for someone to call you. You can buy it, like you can spend a bunch of money on ads or mailers or something, or you can just go get it and go earn it. And earning it is the most predictable and profitable way. So, all right, if I have a business, I want something that's predictable and profitable. Now, I'm highly introverted and shy. Like, I never graduated college. People think I didn't graduate college because I got into real estate, which I did, and then decided that was going to be my career. But that was like in year 8 of my undergrad. And the reason is I would never take a class where you had to give any type of oral presentation. So if the syllabus, if the class description said that, I wouldn't sign up for it. Or if they handed out the syllabus on first day and it said they're going to give a presentation, I'd freaking drop that class that day. So I would never, because I just couldn't do that stuff. So it wasn't a natural for me to get into real estate and start, wanting to talk to people. I didn't really ever want to talk to people, but I knew I needed to accomplish my goals. So that desire then said, okay, I have to get good. Now, when you're brand new, or at least when I was brand new, I knew I didn't have any experience, didn't have any knowledge, didn't have any skills, wasn't the smartest guy, didn't have a big personality. Some people say any personality. But I had this desire. Okay, I can work. Here's what I know I can do. I can work hard, and no one's going to outwork me. So, the first year was the broker who recruited me into real estate. By the way, and wasn't even a plan to go into real estate. I got this guy recruited for me for 3 years and finally convinced me. Thank goodness. And he was an ex-Marine, and he got in at 6:30 every morning and opened up the office. So I was there when he got there every morning. And I was probably the last one to leave 99% of the time, like at 8 or 9 at night. And that was 7 days a week for the first year. Like, I was just like, whatever it's going to take. And I sold 27 homes. I was rookie of the year in San Diego. But at the end of that year, it was like, how am I going to ever do any more? Like, I can't work any harder, can't work any longer. So then it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? And I didn't even trust me, I didn't want to work 7 days a week and ungodly hours every one of those days. And my wife surely didn't want me doing that. So that was like, okay, I just got to get more efficient and more effective. And so I used to call those my 2 E's. So all I focused on was my efficiency and my effectiveness. My effectiveness was my skills. Like, you have 2 people on the phone for 3 hours. One who's more effective will get more results than the one that doesn't. And the one that doesn't might have to be on the phone for 6 hours to get the same results as the one that got in 3 hours. So I started working on my skills. So I started practicing and role playing like a madman every day, and getting role play partners anywhere I could, and even sometimes in other parts of the country. And so so when you add skills on top of a good work ethic, then you start getting better results. And then efficiencies, like, how can I do something in less time or with less effort? At the end of that first year, one of the obvious things was, man, and back then the rate to hire someone on an hourly wage was $5 an hour. So I'd hire someone and have them do all the things that I was taking time to do that weren't putting me in front of buyers and sellers. Now I didn't, and when I did that, like, I was in an office of like 70 agents. I was like one of the youngest people. And at the end of my first year, I hired an assistant, and like every agent in that house, like, what, you hired an assistant? Who do you think you are? You think you're the president? Like, what? And I'd be like, well, you've been stuffing envelopes, folding letters, stuffing envelopes for the last 3 hours. I'm going to pay someone $5 an hour to do that, so I can go make more calls or go knock on more doors. And it was just a logical step to take. But it was, starting to work on those things. And then the next thing, and Bob, you'll probably get to, was the discipline. And that's where it really started to take off.
What I feel like I could interview you for 2 hours here.
Easily.
You said goals trump feelings. Can you talk, like, so you had a monetary goal with a big why that maybe birthed itself in a basement with a couple of buddies in high school that said, oh, I can't afford that. How do, like, having those goals, like, I mean, put me into you're sitting there, you're making the 85th call of the day, your brother's, I don't know, back then he probably wasn't texting you. He's sent you the beeper signal that says, I got a 8-pound fish on right now. And you're like, I want to get out of here. Like, what's, and you maybe even said it earlier, you had this little trigger thing that you said, but like in those moments where your feelings are about to take you away from that uncomfortable thing you should be doing, like, how do you stop it?
I almost everything that I wanted to do, I just created a structure. And for that example, the structure was just a trigger. And it literally was this thing. And I must have said this thousands, tens of thousands of times to myself. I don't listen to my wants and don't wants. Because the thought before that was, I want to go to the beach. I don't want to do this. Yeah. And so whenever that happened, and sometimes I'd say it out loud, like I'd have some guys, people on my team prospecting, we'd be in a room, and I'd be like, man, I do not want to make another call. I do not want to be doing this. And then I'd quickly dial the phone because the next thought in my head was, I don't listen to my wants and don't wants. I just do what I need to do to achieve my goals. And so that was just a mindset thing that I created. And it's, building a strong mindset is like building, a strong core or a strong bicep or, a strong muscle, right? It's just the more you do it, the stronger that it gets. So I kept, it became really obvious to me that mindset was the most important thing I could do, is like build a strong mindset. Because the only thing I saw when I looked at all the agents in the market or in my office, the difference between the ones that succeeded at the highest place, the highest rate, and the ones that didn't was this their mindset. And I literally, to this day, I believe that 90% of what it takes to be successful is mindset. The other 10% is just doing the stuff.
Bob, we just got a question in the chat. I want to address it.
Yeah, let's go. Let's spend these last 8 minutes on who's he calling, what's he doing.
Well, hang on, because the question was, can he tell us who he called? Folks, this was in the 80s, right? Things are different. And even in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, things are very different about who Chris was really calling. But Chris, let's fast forward to today. Take your success, your experience, and all of that kind of stuff. And who are the people you'd be calling if you were doing it today, just getting into this? Same guy, same personality, same stuff. What would you be doing each and every day?
Yeah, if you, Chad, if you took me and dropped me and you named the city, that I've been in before, and said,
well, we saw you do the whole country, the whole world, actually. So,
but if you said, hey, we're going to drop you off and name your favorite city, and you got 30 days to get a listing or 60 days to get a closing, what would you do? Man, I would be calling expireds all day long. They're the lowest hanging fruit with the most certainty, right? Those are people that want to sell, they didn't have success, and most of them are going to go back on the market. I would be calling out of area owners, which are people that own property there but live somewhere else. Yeah, they're the landlord, who every landlord is always in the back of their mind thinking if they should sell or keep their rental. And then I'd probably be doing open houses every day or every other day if I had time, just to meet more people. And I would probably do those open houses like close to where there was new home developments, because there are people going to new home development. You just get more traffic. Now here's what's interesting. That's what I did back then, Chad. So yes, it was a different time, but
still the same people you're after.
Yeah. I don't know that I would do it any differently. Now,
if you went today, though, Chris, would you throw a lot of sphere into that now that you've built it up? You're not brand new in a city?
If I had one, absolutely. Like the sphere should always be your main focus, right?
Okay.
And it's funny, for most agents, that's the group they neglect the most. Right?
Yeah,
right. That's the one.
I don't want to call my friends because they're going to make me feel badly. A stranger won't make me feel badly because I don't know who they are.
Yeah, which is all hallucination they're having. Right? That's like,
what would you say? So I love, like, shout out to Remind if I wanted to go find a bunch of absentee owners in a segment of the market.
Yeah, or land voice to get the data of who the expireds are and get.
Yeah. By the way, baked inside of Brivity, you guys can all go get opportunities today and have canceled expireds right inside of your Brivity. But what would, like, can I just hear what's your opening line to an absentee owner if you were to call them and you're just prospecting them to see if they're interested in selling their house?
Yeah, is this Bob?
Yeah, this is Bob.
Hey, Bob. My name's Chris Heller. I'm a real estate agent in San Diego. If you're the right person, I'm looking for you on a property here in Oceanside. And I was checking to see if you have any thoughts on doing anything with that property other than keeping it as a rental.
At some point.
Yeah, and then I would just get into hey, like, how long have you owned it? Have you built a lot of equity? Let me ask you, if you didn't own it, what would you do with the money you pulled out of it? Would you look to invest it in something else that was giving you a better return? Or a higher return than what you're getting now, or do you have debt you'd pay off? Like, just find out if there's stuff or how it's going. Like, do you have a good tenant, or, it's just, I used to do those calls. They were just easy calls for me to do. I actually bought, I remember I called this one guy in Chicago and he goes, yeah, actually I would think I'd like to sell it, but I don't want to disturb the tenant and he wants to stay there. And anyways, make a long story short, I ended up buying the house. That tenant stayed there for like another 5 years, and he moved out. Then I remodeled the house. I got paid $640 for the house. Sold it a while back for like $2 million, and it's just stuff just comes from those opportunities, right? It's like, but it's not. Agents get hung up like, well, I don't know what to say. All right, well, there's endless people that can help you with the scripts. And then you just got to practice. What I did too is I didn't practice on the people. Like, I would role play.
By the way, AI Call Coach, our place partners have that. Our Brivity folks will have access to it soon, right? Chris would have been an absolute savage with an AI Call Coach that he could practice on.
That would have been awesome. Wouldn't have to worry about finding a role play partner or the role play partner not showing up or not, not staying in your role and chatting.
I was a horrible role play partner, by the way. Like, I was tossing softballs all the time. Like, that was always an awkward thing back when I was an agent.
It's the greatest thing that every agent is missing, right? I was brought up in the world of Terry Brinkus, right? You had a role play partner and they weren't there to be nice, right? They weren't there to be a jerk. They're there to give you an objection or two and then let you win so you practice. Folks, if you don't have a role play partner, that's the first thing missing from your business. Right there is having it. Chris, we have like a minute and a half left, and I'm going to play Bob for a second here, and I'm going to do the promo bit, right? When you got into the business, Top Producer was like probably one of the only CRMs that was out there back then. I remember that we didn't have too many choices. What makes Brivity, what's the tool in Brivity that you love for as much as you know it, that our audience here should be saying, like, that day in a life of you wish you had that back then, because that just makes it so easy?
Yeah, and I didn't use Top Producer because Top Producer to me back then was like a Swiss Army. I just had too much stuff, and I know the things I need to do. The thing I love most about Brivity is it's designed by agents for agents. Now that's sort of almost become a cliche type saying. You hear that. A lot of these CRMs aren't designed by agents who use them every day. So it's very intuitive and it's very logical. Like, hey, here's the things you need to do. Here's the reminders. Here's the things you're scheduled. Here's like, it's sort of like the epitome of what a CRM should be. I think my answer used to always be, people say, what CRM should you use? And my answer was always the same. It's like, whichever one you're going to use.
Yeah.
I think Brivity is probably the easiest one to use, which then causes more people to use it, and then they get better results.
Thank you.
Wait, 1 minute. What was the math in your business? Like, I don't know, maybe in the beginning, maybe towards the end, later as you really developed the skills, but like, did you have it honed down to like, I know on average, I'm if I speak to X number of, let's just do it in canceled expires. How many canceled expires do you have to talk to set an appointment, Chris?
It was less than 20. So it was, it varied. It depended on market dynamics, like it was a buyer's market or seller's market, but it was less than 20. I was getting an appointment, and I was doing a variety of different types of calls. Like I was doing circle prospecting also because I needed to have enough people to call. But every 25 contacts, I was getting an appointment, and my goal was to set 2 appointments a day. And so I was, my goal was to make 50 contacts and set 2 appointments.
Chris probably was, stacking quarters on his desk or something to tell himself how many contacts.
I had hash marks on
a piece of paper.
Yeah.
You guys just make the calls in Brivity. They all lay out on a sales funnel. If you don't know how many people it takes you to set an appointment, Chris, all these years later still knows it took him 25 people to set an appointment. And he set out to, I guess, talk to 50 people a day, Chris, because you were trying to set 2 appointments every day. And when you didn't feel like it, tell me the trigger in your head again. Say it one more time.
I don't listen to my wants and don't wants. I just do what I need to do to achieve my goals.
So good. That's what we're going to end on.
I am writing that down and making that my desktop screen, I think.
Chris, I love it, man. Thanks for joining us today. Again, Chad, we should have him on WinMate Give. I could talk to Chris for at least another hour.
We should have him on everything.
Hey, I'm happy to do this anytime. It's fun. You guys make it fun. Thank you.
Thanks buddy.
Chris.
Hey, tell me how many of those 53 Bowmans you got now?
I'm more than halfway there. It's irrational, like the amount of packages that show up every month. So.
I'm about a third of the way on my 53 top set. So
you leave him alone. Do not bring Chris into that stuff. Leave Chris out now.
It's too late, Chad. It's too late. I'm beyond the point of no return.
Chris,
I'm out of here.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks. You guys have a great week. We'll see everybody next week. Bye, Chad.